Dahab is a small town to the southeast coast of Sinai Peninsula in Egypt, approximately 80 kilometers northeast of Sharm el-Sheikh. Formerly a Bedouin fishing village, Dahab today attracts huge numbers of tourists. It is world-renowned for its windsurfing, scuba diving, free diving, and snorkeling. The BlueHole, dubbed the world's most dangerous diving site, is a location a few kilometers north of Dahab, on the coast of the Red Sea. It is a submarine sinkhole, with a maximum depth within the chasm of just over 100 meters. There is a shallow opening to the sea, around 6 meters deep, called the saddle, and a 26 meters long tunnel, called the arch, whose bottom falls away as it reaches the seaward side to about 120 meters. The ceiling of the arch is 55 meters deep, which requires suitable training and equipment, as 40 meters is considered the limit for recreational diving. On the seaward side, the floor drops steeply to over 1,000 meters. The hole and the surrounding area have an abundance of coral and reef fish. The dive site is alleged to have the most diver fatalities in the world, with estimates of between 130 and 200 deaths in the 15 years from 1997 to 2012, averaging over 8 per year. While the sinkhole itself is not very dangerous as any other Red Sea dive, but diving through the arch, the submerged tunnel, is an extreme dive that has resulted in many accidents and fatalities. The Egyptian Chamber for Diving and Water Sports, CDWS, now stations a policeman at the BlueHole to ensure divers are diving with a certified guide who will make sure safety procedures are followed. Hundreds if not thousands of recreational scuba divers descend each year into the crystal blue waters of the sinkhole, tanks strapped on their backs, masks cinched in place, ready to marvel at the colorful underwater life and spectacular coral formations. At 22 years old, one such diver, Yuri Lipski from Russia, was already an experienced and qualified technical scuba diver. On April 28, 2000, he was more than aware of the unique challenges of diving deep into the BlueHole, and he was more than ready for the journey down to the arch. At that depth the water becomes murky, the visibility becomes reduced, and the strong down current makes just entering the passageway a physical challenge. Yuri was aware of the conditions awaiting him, all the appropriate information programmed into his diving computer to be viewed at a glance. With this crucial piece of equipment, he would know what depth he was descending to, the amount of air remaining in his tank throughout the entire time he was underwater, and even the time the overall dive should take him. Further pre-dive planning had forewarned him that the arch could appear shorter than it was. Worse still, the incoming flow of water from the open sea tended to lengthen the time to exit the passageway on the open seaward side. Compounding these challenges was the odd descending angle of the tunnel itself. This feature had taken many unsuspecting divers by surprise, causing them to underestimate the depth they were descending to, and the amount of air they were consuming. With a finite amount of air in the tank, a miscalculation could leave Yuri with barely enough air to make it back to the surface alive. Constant vigilance was important when diving so deep. Still, Yuri had factored this into his dive and had planned his route, dive depth, and times. Everything. This was the standard operating procedure for such a challenging dive. What wasn't standard was only that he was diving alone. He wasn't concerned, he was well prepared, his equipment was in perfect working order, and he was confident in his diving abilities. Weights secured in place, his helmet camera primed to record this memorable dive, Yuri took a giant stride into the tapering shaft of the BlueHole and began his descent. What happened next was to make Yuri Lipski's dive the most famous at the BlueHole. His camera recorded the entire dive. It showed an uncontrolled descent from the arch all the way down to a depth of 115 meters. Lipski landed with an inaudible thud, shaking the recorded image. At this point, Yuri started suffering from nitrogen narcosis or air toxicity from the air in his tank. The camera continued to record as he rips the mask from his face, as he rips his regulator out of his mouth, as the last gasp of air is ripped from his lungs. The camera continues to record as he tries to inflate his buoyancy jacket, his disorientated mind comprehending that safety lies on the surface, 115 meters above. The camera angle changes, going horizontal, continuing to record as his body convulses one last time and ceases to move, alone at the bottom of the ocean. After this incident, one of the world's most renowned deepwater divers, Tarek Omar, was tasked to recover Yuri's body the following day at the request of his mother. Saddened at the young diver's death, Tarek undertook the task solemnly. On completion of his recovery dive, he presented Yuri's belongings to his heartbroken mother 2 days later. Unfortunately, the still-functioning camera was among them. Believing that it would be inoperable as it wasn't rated down to such extreme depths, He was saddened when it worked perfectly, revealing Yuri's final moments so starkly to his distressed mother. It was this video that immortalized Yuri's dive, his shocking death recorded for the whole world to see. This is what his camera captured. Yuri wasn't the only life lost at the Blue Hole. Tarek Omar, interviewed numerous times over the years, commented that he had lost count of how many bodies he had reclaimed from the seafloor of this popular dive site, easily over 100, maybe more. Every one of them was an experienced diver, and every one of them underestimated the dangers lurking beneath the tranquil surface. There were those, Omar had to admit sadly, were just too deep for even him to recover. The only reminder that they had died here were their names inscribed on one of the many memorial plaques dotted around the site, a stark warning for the next Yuri Lipski wanting to dive deep into the big blue hole. If you made it this far, I want to thank you for watching. If you want to support us, leave us a like, share or comment your thoughts below. And if you enjoy stories related to true crime, unfortunate events, horrors, and mysteries, make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our uploads. Until then, see you next time.